Something is rotten in the state of Denmark, or in this case, in NBA media. And this time it's Steph Curry getting caught in the crossfire. We'll take a look at the latest wild claim and why we seem to be intent on damaging this great sport over and over and over again. But first, some actual basketball on the court. Did Russell Westbrook make the right decision? One of the biggest mistakes we've seen in the NBA this season. But did he actually make the correct call? I'm Trevor Lane. This is the Basketball Bulletin. Make sure you subscribe right here to the channel. Right now, about 70% of you watching this are not actually subscribed, so hit that subscribe button. So by now, you've at least heard about what happened last night between the Minnesota Timberwolves and Denver Nuggets. All-time classic game, double overtime. Jokic goes for 60. It was insane. And watch what happened. Minnesota's got the ball. They're down 17 seconds. Here we go. Inbound it. Oh, no. Oh, no. Terrible turnover. Westbrook in the right place at the right time. Here we go. Going the other way. Everything's looking good. Looking good. Layup. No. Uh-oh. Russell Westbrook blows the layup. Then we go the other way, and we all know what's coming. Yep. Wolves get into the paint. Here comes Anthony Edwards. Kick out to Alexander Walker. The three. He missed it, but oh no! Russell Westbrook fouled him. This was the big. If you watched any of the Denver Nuggets live streams or anything going on right now from Nuggets fans, oh my God. I mean, this is probably one of the worst ways to possibly lose a game because you didn't hear the whistle. And most Nuggets fans, most people in the building thought when the shot missed, they won the game, only to moments later discover that a foul had been called. Yeah, that was the reaction. But going back here, there's a lot of debate right now. Did Russell Westbrook do the right thing right here? Was this the correct decision right now for Russell Westbrook? He's going to take a layup up 12 seconds on the clock. This is an open layup. Mike Conley did a good job getting back in the play to at least make him think about it. But I've got a lot of people saying, no. Russ messed up. He should have dribbled the ball back out. And here's why I actually think that's wrong. I think Russell Westbrook, what he did in this scenario, taking a wide open layup, is fine. If this was Steph Curry, who we're going to talk about in a minute, maybe it's a different story, right? If we're talking about an all-time great shooter going to the line, okay, burn a few more seconds off the clock. But realistically, how much time is Russ going to burn? You've got 4 Wolves defenders in the picture. It's not like he's going to be able to just run around and nobody's going to catch him. Maybe he can pass the ball, maybe. But most likely what would happen if he put on the brakes and tried to dribble back out, he's going to burn 2, maybe 3 seconds tops. And then you've got a 64% free throw shooter going to the foul line. I would rather take the sure thing, or, well, what should have been a sure thing of an open layup over with 12 seconds on the clock and then giving the ball back to Minnesota instead of maybe 8-9 seconds on the clock. And I've got Russell Westbrook going to the free throw line to shoot 2. Because what I'm most likely going to do, let's say he makes 1, misses 1. Then I'm in a situation where my defense has to completely change, right? Then I'm in a situation where a 2 ties it and a 3 wins it, right? That's going to change the way I play defense. Now, the Wolves wind up going for a 3 anyway on the ensuing possession here, but I'm taking the guaranteed 2 and I'm going up 3. It's going to be a made basket, so the Wolves are going to have to take it out of the bucket, and then I'm going to get my defense set up knowing that I just have to defend the 3-point line, and if I need to give up the drive, I give up the drive and I give up the easy 2. Whereas if I go and put Russell Westbrook on the free throw line, there's a decent chance he's going to miss at least one of them. And if that happens, then my whole defensive scheme going the other way has to change. So I think Russell Westbrook, in this case, given that he's a 64% free throw shooter, you take the layup. Now, obviously, hindsight being 2020, he missed the layup, and that should never, ever happen. But in this case, I think you take the layup. He did the right thing here. Obviously, made a huge mistake in fouling the 3-point shooter, but I believe Russell Westbrook made the correct call. But you guys let me know, what should Russ have done there? Did he make an incorrect decision? I threw the poll out there on X, and most people right now agreed with me. 2/3 of the vote agreed with me that you take the wide open layup, that you don't dribble out to get fouled. But again, a lot of debate going on right now about whether or not Russ did the right thing. So let me know in the comments down below. What should he have done in that situation? Obviously, a great game, but an all-time mistake to finish. In fact, back-to-back mistakes to finish in terms of missing the layup. Yikes. And then fouling the three-point shooter with 0.1 on the clock. And the Denver Nuggets will go on to lose that game. Something else we need to look at, though. This is the problem in NBA media right now. This is Stephen A. Smith recounting a story about Steph Curry and a veteran player. This is absolutely insane.
Hall of Fame would come up to me and said to me, quote, Steph Curry would not have averaged more than 17 points a game. And now obviously, I think that person should have been drug tested when he said that to me. But then I quieted down because he wasn't talking about his skill set. He said, in our era, we would have hurt him. He said, we would have hurt him. He said he would have had to run through picks. He wouldn't have been as protected by the officials. The game is exponentially more physical now than it was then. Remember when he came into the league with the ankle injury? He'd have never recovered from that with us. We would have made sure they would have tripped him every chance we got. They wasn't talking about basketball. They were talking about this is the elements that come with the game that we had to endure that these guys don't have to even think about. Now, of course, from a talent perspective, the talent is clearly superior now to what it once was. Evolution kicks in. You learn from the predecessors. You take it to another level. There's no surprise there. But the problem is when they were playing, they were judged so harshly. And all of those things were taken into consideration that they look at it now. Rule changes, no hand checking, and all the absence of physicality that exists now compared to what once was. The road traveled was far less arduous than it is now in their eyes. And they're saying, if these brothers had to go through what we went through, and so when they're hearing these players talk, they expect to hear that level of appreciation. And when these guys don't sit up there and say, damn, I'll put you this way, close it by saying this. If today's players came out, and I'm not saying they should, I'm just talking about them compared to the old players. If today's players came out and said, man, I'm glad I wasn't playing during y'all era. Hell, I'd have got mugged. They'd have beat the hell out of me. If they said something like that.
So again, this is getting into a respect being a two-way street type thing. Stephen A. Smith making the point that, well, as much as we talk about players from years gone by, the old heads, as the kids would say, are not respecting the game today. These guys are constantly trashing today's game, constantly talking about how it's not as good, how back in my day, it was much better because I had to walk to school uphill both ways in the snow, right? All that kind of stuff. That's what we're hearing from former players right now. Constantly trashing today's game. It's not as good. Steph Curry would have averaged 17 points. All this absolute nonsense. That's what we're hearing from these guys. And is it any wonder there's a negative perception of the NBA right now when the game is phenomenal? It's incredible what's happening on a night-to-night basis. But what gets missed? What gets missed by all of these guys talking about, oh, it's too physical now. Steph Curry, we would have beat him up. Is it more physical back then? Sure. Could you get a Kurt Rambis clothesline from Kevin McHale? Would Steph Curry have survived that? Sure. There's questions about all of that. But what gets missed by all of these guys is you never would have caught him. They never would have caught Steph Curry. Have you seen how much that man moves? Have you seen that? Have you seen the movement on the floor in today's NBA? The spacing on the floor? Have you seen the distance traveled in today's game compared to what it was? Go watch a game from back then and watch how much standing around there is on both ends of the floor. Both ends of the floor. How much time guys are spending just standing. They're not doing that today. They're not. Now, today, if you're just standing and your man cuts baseline and pops out the other side and gets a corner three, you're sitting your butt on the bench because you just gave up 3 points because these dudes aren't missing those shots. This isn't the era where one guy can shoot the three and everybody else is playing in the paint. That's the way it used to be. You go and you watch a game from 20 years ago, it looks like a different sport. So when guys are saying, oh, we would have beat up Steph Curry, you never would have caught him. You never would have caught up to him. You'd have no idea where he was going to be on any moment. And if you had to run through all the screens guys are playing against Steph have to run through, Yeah, you'd be dead at the end of it. Look at Richard Hamilton, known as a cardio king. Richard Hamilton, Rip Hamilton, so great. Constant movement, would get to that 15-footer anytime he wanted, running through multiple screens. Imagine when that's Steph and you have to chase all the way out to the three-point line. Rip Hamilton was wearing dudes out. What happens when it's Steph, who is an even more energetic off-ball movement player? When it's Steph, who is nonstop activity the entire time. And if you give him, I'm not talking about a foot of space, you give him a few inches and he's draining a three on you. And you're saying, oh, he would only score 17 points because we're going to be too physical with them? Like, there just needs to be, and I get it, Stephen A saying, well, part of it is the players today don't talk about how physical it was back then. And it's all so petty. It's all so petty. Players, the veteran players from back then, well, maybe they'd show a little bit more respect to today's game if the guys from today would show them respect by talking about how physical it used to be. What we all have to just compliment each other. Like, let's just appreciate the game for what it is. Should the younger players have a greater sense of history? Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know what? A lot of them do. And a lot of them did come up watching a number of different players and trying to replicate what some of their favorites did. These guys didn't get to the NBA without being NBA fans first. These guys didn't get here by not respecting the players who they came up watching. That's not a thing. What's weird is when we get these veteran players that are constantly doing what they can to say, oh, this guy wouldn't average that many. This guy wouldn't do that much. This guy in my era, this wouldn't have happened. It's a totally different game. It's a totally different game. And I think there needs to be an understanding that there's different challenges that come with today's game. There's different challenges. Is it elbows being thrown every possession? No, not as much. No. But the movement, the physical toll that gets taken in today's NBA, it's different than the way it was, but I don't think it's less than what it was. It's not. These guys are asked to do things that is so different than what we saw back then. And I think it's important that we respect all of these things. And for today's game specifically, yes, the guys from today, should they be respectful of the previous eras? Absolutely. And I think to a large part they are. You hear guys all the time talk about, I grew up watching Kobe. I grew up watching LeBron. I grew up watching these guys, right? This guy was my hero. I had his poster on the wall, all this kind of stuff. I mean, my God. We had Quincy Oliveri with the Lakers is crying at talking about how much it meant to him that Steph Curry, who he grew up idolizing, talked to him and said he appreciated his game, how much that meant for him. These guys grew up watching the NBA, but what we need is these veteran players to stop talking about, well, in my day, this guy wouldn't have done anything. In my day, this guy wouldn't have been any good, and appreciate what these guys are doing because the skill level is so high in today's NBA. Shine a light on all the good that's happening in this league right now because there's some incredible things happening in the NBA. I think we do need to spend a little bit more time amplifying that and talking about how incredible and how amazing this game is. But the problem is it's different. And we tend to just at our core, when we see something that's different, we think, oh, that must be worse. That's not what I grew up with. Therefore, it must be worse. The game has changed a lot and it will continue to change. It's always going to change. It's never going to be done. The NBA, there will never come a day we look at the NBA and say, this is it. Don't change anything. Everything is fine. This is perfect. This is perfection in basketball. No, it's a living, breathing thing. The game is, and it will always change. And there will always be generations ahead that look back and say, this is really not the same game that we played. And that's okay. Basketball is constantly going to evolve, and that's part of the beauty of it. But we have to recognize that and appreciate it for what it is rather than constantly compare it to what it was. Give me your thoughts in the comments down below. Veteran players, again, speaking out against the way today's game is played. Talking about Steph Curry only averaging 17. I mean, just absolute insanity. And, of course, give me your thoughts on the Russell Westbrook play. Did he make the correct decision? Let me know in the comments down below. Till next time, everybody. See ya. And stay safe.